You are sitting in a perfectly safe room right now. The temperature is controlled. There is no predator outside your door. No rival group is threatening your food supply. By every measurable standard, you are one of the safest humans who has ever lived. And yet your brain is still quietly scanning for danger, still sizing up strangers, still bracing for something that never comes. Your brain never got the update. It is still running on ancient software. And that software was written in a cave. For the vast majority of human existence, your ancestors did not live in cities or suburbs or apartments. They lived in small mobile groups, moving across open landscapes, exposed to predators, rival groups, unpredictable weather, and the constant possibility of starvation. Every single day was a survival calculation. Every sound in the dark mattered. Every unfamiliar face was a potential threat. That world shaped your brain over hundreds of thousands of years. And then, almost overnight in evolutionary terms, everything changed. Agriculture arrived roughly 12,000 years ago. Cities followed, then industry, then the internet. But your brain did not have time to catch up. Evolution moves slowly, culture moves fast, and the gap between the two is where most of your daily suffering lives. Neuroscientist David Eagleman has described the human brain as a machine built for a world that no longer exists. The hardware is ancient, only the software on top is modern, and it is thin. Underneath every rational thought you have, every calm decision, every measured response, there is an older system still running the original program, still expecting the cave. Think about what that actually means for your daily life. Your brain has a threat detection system so sensitive it was designed to catch the rustle of a predator in tall grass. Today, that same system fires when you see a notification on your phone, when your boss sends a short email with no explanation, when someone does not respond to your message. None of these things can kill you, but your nervous system does not know that. It reads the signal and it fires. Your heart rate rises. Your focus narrows. Your body prepares for a physical threat that is not there. Psychologist Paul Gilbert has spent decades studying this mismatch. He calls it the tricky brain problem. The brain evolved brilliantly for survival in a dangerous prehistoric environment, but many of those same survival mechanisms now cause unnecessary suffering in modern life. Anxiety, rumination, social comparison, the fear of failure. These are not weaknesses. They are features of an ancient system running in the wrong environment. Take anxiety as one example. Your ancestors who were slightly more anxious survived longer than the ones who were relaxed. The anxious ones stayed alert. They checked twice before sleeping. They worried about the coming winter before winter arrived. Their anxiety was a tool. It kept them alive long enough to have children, who eventually had you. So when anxiety rises in your chest before a presentation or a difficult conversation or a flight, you are not broken. You are the descendant of the warriors. The ones who were too calm did not make it. But the problem is that anxiety evolved to respond to short, real physical threats. A predator appears. You feel fear. You run or fight. The threat ends. Your body returns to calm. That is the system working as designed. What it was never designed for is the slow, low-grade, invisible threats of modern life. A debt that lingers for years. A job that might disappear in 6 months. A relationship quietly falling apart. Your body cannot fight or run from any of these things, but the threat detection system still fires anyway, and then it has nowhere to go. The alarm stays on, and that is where chronic stress is born. Your brain also does something else that once saved your life but now quietly distorts it. It pays far more attention to negative information than positive. Psychologist Rick Hansen describes this as the brain being like Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones. A single harsh word from a colleague can stay with you for days, while 10 compliments slide past almost unnoticed. This makes perfect sense if you live in a cave. A mistake in a dangerous environment could mean death. Missing a threat was far more costly than missing an opportunity, so your ancestors' brains became exquisitely tuned to remember pain, danger, rejection, and loss. Those memories were survival tools. They stopped your ancestors from making the same mistake twice. But today, this same negativity bias makes you replay the argument you had last Tuesday while forgetting every kind thing someone said to you this week. It makes the news feel like the world is ending, because the news is designed by other ancient brains to trigger exactly the part of you that cannot look away from a threat. Danger gets clicks, calm does not, and your cave brain falls for it every time. Now consider how this plays out in your relationships. Your ancestors lived in a small group where social rejection was not just painful, it was potentially fatal. Being cast out of the group meant facing the world alone, without protection, without food sharing, without warmth. So your brain evolved to treat social rejection with the same urgency as physical injury. Neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger conducted brain imaging studies that revealed something remarkable. The same regions of the brain that process physical pain also activate when a person experiences social rejection. Being left out of a group, ignored in a conversation, or excluded from a social event literally hurts in the same neural architecture as a broken bone. Your brain does not clearly distinguish between the two, because for most of human history there was no practical difference. This is why criticism from a stranger on the internet can ruin your entire morning. Why being left out of a group chat stings more than you think it should. Why public speaking terrifies more people than almost anything else. Standing in front of a group while they all stare at you is, to your ancient brain, almost indistinguishable from being evaluated by your tribe. And if the tribe rejects you, you are alone, and alone is dangerous. But here is what makes all of this genuinely interesting, not just troubling. Once you understand what your brain is actually doing, the experience of it shifts. Anxiety does not mean something is wrong with you. It means your ancient threat system is firing. You can notice it, name it, and then ask whether it is pointing at a real threat or a shadow from the past. The fear before a presentation is the same system that once saved your ancestor from a lion. It is not evidence that something bad will happen. It is evidence that your body is preparing you, that energy is real. The only question is whether it helps you or overwhelms you. The negativity bias is real, but so is your ability to override it deliberately. Rick Hansen suggests that consciously pausing on positive experiences, staying with them for 10 to 20 seconds, begins to shift the balance. Your brain can build new pathways. The cave instinct is not a life sentence, it is a starting point. And when rejection stings more than it logically should, you can remind yourself that the pain is ancient and real, but the situation is almost certainly not what your brain is coding it as. No one is casting you out of the group. No one is leaving you to face the winter alone. The email went unanswered. The meeting felt cold, and your cave brain threw the full emergency response at it. Understanding the gap between the world your brain was built for and the world you actually live in does not solve everything. But it explains so much of what feels irrational. The anxiety that arrives without cause, the sadness that lingers too long, the anger that comes too fast, the obsession with what others think. None of it is a malfunction. All of it made sense, once in a world that no longer exists. You are a modern mind running ancient code, and the most useful thing you can do is learn to read the code, understand what it was written for, and decide, consciously and deliberately, which parts of it still serve you. So the next time your brain fires an alarm at something that cannot actually hurt you, pause for just a second. You are not in danger. You are in the wrong century. And the part of you that is still scanning the tall grass for predators is the same part that kept every one of your ancestors alive long enough for you to exist. You are sitting in a perfectly safe room, and somewhere deep inside, an ancient brain is still checking the dark,